unless you can see him in person?
Well, I don't want to communicate in any other way. I do not want to be his lawyer. I don't want to give him legal advice. I can't give legal advice on a one-to-one basis. I can only state what I believe are the constitutional issues on national television. One of the reasons I don't want to be his lawyer is because I have no interest in what happened to him before he became president, his business life, his personal life. I'm only interested in the Article 2 issues, the constitutional issues. I'm interested in doing what the American Civil Liberties Union has failed to do, and that is defending the rights of all Americans. The ACLU, for the first time, I think in its history, issued a press release defending, justifying, and praising the raid on Michael Cohen's office without alerting the Americans to the risk that happens if you allow invasion into a lawyer, a doctor, a priest, a spousal privilege. So I'm the default guy on civil liberties. There's nobody out there.
Has the president asked you to be his lawyer?
I can't ever say who's ever asked me to be his lawyer, but I've made it clear. I don't want to be the president's lawyer.
Is it your impression he's having a hard time getting a lawyer?
No, I think he got a good lawyer in New York. I think he has some good lawyers in Washington. There's a lot of conflicts of interest, which make it very hard for him to get lawyers. I know that a lot of good lawyers who wanted to get involved in the case, their law firms won't let them because they have conflicting interests. But I think the key point is to make sure that in an effort to get Trump, we don't diminish our civil liberties and create bad precedents.
Who's trying to get Trump?
Oh, a lot of people are trying to get Trump. A lot of radicals, a lot of lefties, a lot of people, a lot of my friends and relatives are furious at me because they want to get Trump, and I'm in their way. I'm standing in the way of getting Trump by raising Article 2 issues, civil liberties issues, civil rights issues. If you don't think there are people out there trying to get Trump, just like they were trying to get Hillary Clinton, people were trying to get Hillary Clinton.
I think many people are opposed to President Trump, but when you say get Trump, it implies to me some sort of coordinated, almost conspiracy. Let's go out and get him.
No. Well, there's no conspiracy when they said
Is Robert Mueller trying to get Trump?
When they said get Hillary, there was no conspiracy. Just a lot of people wanted to lock her up. A lot of people want to lock up Trump.
Do you think Robert Mueller is a part of that?
I think Robert Mueller has a target that he's after. When you're a special counsel, you don't want to come away with nothing after you've spent millions of dollars.
He's already got plenty.
So, no, I don't think he has plenty. I think he has low-hanging fruit. And right now, if he could get Trump, it would be a great feather in his cap, just like Ken Starr wanted to get Clinton. That's what special counsel do. Their object is to get.
You're saying it's about ego almost.
No, it's about reputation. It's about their perception of integrity. In the end, ego plays a role. But it's the role of the civil libertarian to make sure that they don't use means to justify their ends that lie around like loaded guns and can be used as precedents against all of us. You know, it was H.L. Mencken who said first they go after the SOBs, and they establish precedents there, and then they come after the rest of us. That's been my role for 53 years, whether it was defending Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Democrats, Republicans. I'm not partisan. I only care about civil liberties and due process.
Do you think it's a problem that the president seems to watch so much television, react to what he sees on television, including your segments? Is it a healthy thing?
Look, that's how he got elected president. He tweeted, he watched television. I'm not going to second guess that. My preference would be for Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, who are much more studious, who work hard. He works hard, but who are much more substantive in some ways. That's why I'm a Democrat. That's why I voted for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I'm not here to defend him. I'm here to defend civil liberties and due process.
Then the New Yorker this weekend, Adam Davidson has written a column that's getting a lot of shares. I think a lot of liberals reading this column as a fantasy. Let's put part of it on screen. He says, this is the week we know with increasing certainty that we are entering the last phase of the Trump presidency. This doesn't feel like a prophecy. It feels like a simple statement of the apparent truth. Davidson's argument is that the Michael Cohen raid, the investigation of Cohen, is going to unearth a lot of damaging information about both Cohen and the president. Do you believe that's the case, that the Cohen raid is going to be very damaging?
I've always thought, and I said it months ago, that the greatest danger that President Trump faces is not his alleged obstruction of justice or collusion, but his pre-presidential private life. If he were to testify in any of these women cases, we don't know what Cohen has. We have no idea. But he doesn't have the same kind of constitutional defense if they were to find material. Also, he's vulnerable because if they find material, they can go after him for state charges, and he can't pardon in state charges. He can only pardon for federal charges. So I do think that his lawyers ought to be focusing a lot of their attention on the Southern District of New York, the State Attorney General of New York, and less attention on Mueller although the Mueller matter is connected to New York, he is much more vulnerable on what he did before he was president than when he's done as president, because what he's done as president has constitutional protection. The other does not. That's how they got Bill Clinton. Before he was president, you know, the women, they didn't get him for when he was president, except that the perjury that grew out of what he had done previously. That's the vulnerability.
Since you were with the president this week, do you sense that he knows how bad a fix he is in?
President didn't talk about that kind of thing with me. I was there to talk about the Middle East. I've been there 3 times to talk about the Middle East. My hope is that he can help bring about a peaceful resolution of the Middle East, and I want to help him. I try to help President Obama. I try to help President Clinton on the Middle East. That's my passion. That's why I was invited to the White House, and that's why I will continue to go back to the White House no matter who's president to try to help fix the big problems in the Middle East.
Did he seem particularly angry this week when you were there?
I was only with him for an hour and a quarter. It was a very informal dinner with a group of people. He seemed upbeat. He wanted to talk about, you know, the Netanyahu issue in Israel. He wanted to talk about the Gulf and Syria and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You know, I'm a stranger to him. I'm not his friend or his intimate.
Oh, I can't imagine you're a stranger. He's seen you on television so many times. You guys have a relationship going back decades.
No, we don't. I mean, I met him like twice before he was president, mostly for handshakes and one phone call. We're not friends. I've never been in a social setting with him at all, and so he would never show me his feelings. I'm somebody brought in from the outside to help on the Middle East and then go home. In fact, at the dinner, they basically threw me out when they wanted to talk about confidences. They said, all right, we're finished with dessert, you leave now. And they continued to talk about confidence. I am not an intimate, I am not a supporter, I am not a defender of Donald Trump, the person. I'm a defender of civil liberties and basic due process, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, because that's